Hello, everyone. Happy October 1st. Can you believe it? Wow. It feels like just a minute ago. Um, I was just saying, the summer's getting ready to get started, and here we are at October 1st. Anyway, I had quite a few problems today getting going with this. So I hope everything goes well. Computer issues, other issues. And so here we are. Here we are. Last Q&A session, I told you guys about how Neptune had just went retrograde, and there was all kind of issues going on with Neptune things, water um, escaping. Um, it rules water, gas, anything escaping, whether it's physically escaping or mentally escaping, like addictions and that kind of thing. So um, I just want to kind of talk about that just for a second because it's really kind of important with some things going on. Like we have the 100,000 Armenians that escaped from, I can't even say the country, um, because of their persecution, and 100,000 people crossed over into Armenia, not Armenians, but crossed over into Armenia. That's a lot of people escaping persecution. And believe it or not, it's like all in the name of sort of religion. And to think that, like, they're being persecuted for not following a certain religion and that type of thing. You know, this world really is going through some serious growing pains with that, and we have to be mindful to keep our um, views and thoughts about what other people should think in check too. The freedom that we have on the other side, it's got to come through more here, and we have to be the ones to allow it. We may believe strongly in something, but someone else doesn't, you know and that's okay. That's totally okay. That's fine, because in the end, and when I say in the end, when we all leave this world and go and re-emerge ourselves back into the spiritual world, you will know a freedom that you can't even imagine, and nothing is forced. Um, no one is pushed into thinking a certain way, um, and so that freedom, um, we have to find a way individually to mimic that type of freedom here and allow it here. Just because someone doesn't agree with us doesn't mean they're wrong, doesn't mean they're right. It's just their freedom to express where they're at mentally and with their belief system. And believe me, even if you feel someone is dead wrong about something, which is fine, um, they have to have the freedom to get to their truth in their way. So that's one of the things that this Neptune retrograde is bringing out, and a few other astrological things. But I don't ever like to get into the details with you guys, because a lot of you don't really care about the details, just kind of the trend of what's going on, and I wouldn't bore you with it anyway. But a few other things along that vein of freedom. Um, oh, and by the way, the Neptune, like the water, the gas, that type of thing. How about the New York flooding? That's hasn't happened in. I don't even know if it's ever happened. They had major flooding in New York. Illinois had a huge pneumonia tanker spill, and thousands of residents had to be evacuated from the area. So these are the type of things like we have to kind of look forward to for a couple of months with this Neptune retrograde. Another prisoner escaped this past week. They were out on trash detail, and guy just walked away. Um, and as far as the the tide changing from, I told you guys about Pluto getting ready to go direct this month, and so the tide of freedom um, for um, rights and people's rights, workers' rights. Um, that is continuing. We see that the actors' strike, fortunately, is about over. Um, the hospitality workers now are going on strike um, in Vegas, and good for them because they deserve better pay, better working conditions. So I mean, these are the kind of things that are coming to a head, and it's a good thing. You know, if you sit back and you kind of watch, there's always rumbles and there's always pain going through certain things, but sometimes it's kind of the only way to get to the desired end, and that desired end is basically happening in a lot of cases, um, and like the auto worker strike. um, you got the CEO making 22 million and yet telling these guys, hey, we can't afford to give more money. Well, okay, um, but you're making 22 million a year. So, you know, I don't know. So anyway, it's like I've told you guys before, love always has the final word. Always. It always has the final say. So however love um, transmutes and transforms these situations, um, it will always be in the best loving way. Just got to go through some pain to get there. I hope everyone is doing good. We've got two eclipses this month, and so it may, I don't know, eclipses usually bring intense emotions and sudden changes. So just kind of be on the lookout for that. When I ask, I hope everybody's doing okay. Some of you may be feeling the effects of the coming eclipses, um, because we've got a moon eclipse, which deals with emotions, and a sun, um, the solar eclipse, which deals with life changes. And so those are coming. And but listen, um, the solar eclipse and the life changing event that usually comes with the solar eclipse isn't indicative of something negative all the time. And how we perceive it, it's can be an extremely positive thing. Um, like uh, you know, someone being super sick, and then all of a sudden they're able to be healed. They find some type of relief for your ailments, or you could win like a huge amount of money, or a settlement could go in your favor, or anything positive. So it can go basically either way. And remember, negative is not always negative. Um, a change is sometimes needed. We perceive it as being negative, but it on the back end we see, oh wow, that wasn't as bad as I thought. So we've got that coming up this month also, more so about the middle and the end of the month. But the intensity of the emotions with the moon eclipse, um, just look out for that. Be on the lookout. Hey, I'm feeling things a little bit more intensely now. Um, Ride the wave of it. Don't let it consume you. Ride the wave of it. Okay, let's see. All right, I basically kind of went over everything. I just jotted down some things really quick. Um, but let's get into the questions. And there's so many more questions I have yet to answer. And I feel really bad sometime each week because um, some just keep going on and on that I haven't answered. But I can't make these sessions like 4 hours long. So, but here was a question. Unfortunately, I don't have the exact. I can't find the exact question from the person to read it to you, but I jotted it down. Jotted just some of it down. So um, the person had asked about shape shifting, and they wanted to know, was some of it like demonic, and what was the whole thing with shape shifting, um, so in my book, which I did already forget to mention, my near death experience from A to Z, the book link is in the description of this video. But in my book, in the section on pets, I did describe uh, something I witnessed. I witnessed a friend's pet morph into a human face. And it was a relative of that, a deceased relative of that person. And it lasted for just nanoseconds, but I caught it. And that pet knew I caught it. Um, because pets, any human object, first of all, the soul can insert its spiritual form into any human object. Remember, the soul has mastery over this realm. Okay. And a while ago, I did a video about the egg in the water. Um, and I described how the water was basically um, the spiritual essence of everything, and the egg was the human form, the human dimension, and the egg, I had it in the jar of water. And the spiritual essence, it encompasses this world. And the soul has mastery over this world because it is the greater of the dimension of the different levels. Okay, so the soul can insert itself into any form, any world, any dimension, um, and it can do that through several ways. It could overlay. You can have like an overlay can be there, um, and there's certain alien species that know how to manipulate those subatomic particles, um, um, and do an overlay also. They're kind of experts at doing that. They can manipulate them in certain ways. So you can have shape shifting done by a soul. You can have it done by um, certain alien species. Um, they can actually change the appearance. Those subatomic particles. Um, they can change them and then withdraw from them. They can change them and keep them for however long they want. You know, we do have um, beings that walk around here on Earth um, that know how to manipulate their energy, and that they keep the form of that energy, and they're able to for long periods of time and walk around and look just like me or you. Um, so I think the question was also in line with, is all shape shifting bad? No, it's not. It's not. Um, those from the angelic realms come and will shapeshift into can shapeshift into any form they want. And like I said, a lot of times um, they can put on an overlay, not even change the those particles, but just kind of overlay something or someone that's already there, um, or an inanimate object. You know, they can do that quite easily. It's just like if we put up a like a hologram, um, over someone or something, or a projector up against the wall. You know, you're overlaying that wall. Um, and so sometimes, yes, you have entities that may be doing it for trickery, um, and not in a necessarily good way, but not all the time. Not all the time. Um, but it's certainly possible. It's done, um, and it's a real thing. So I hope I answered that person's question because, like I said, I cannot remember the exact question. I couldn't find it. I'm not sure what I did with it. Um, and I know that sounds kind of sci-fi ish, but I mean, you know, if you allow your mind to stretch just a little bit, um, and think, just like I said, if you put a projector up against the wall, you're kind of changing the appearance of the wall, right? By that projected light. Well, the same thing can be done um, on different levels, of our existence here, you know. And a thought just came to me. It's just like when you see orbs. Many of us have seen orbs, the orbs of light. Those are condensed energy, spiritual energy that's condensed into particles that are dense enough to be seen. So it's definitely in the realm of possible, and it does happen. Okay. It was interesting. Last week I talked about 9/11. Um, and then I got probably about 4 or 5 different people that wanted to know about the karma of the perpetrators of 9/11. And that was, uh, a good, concern that they have. Are these people, do those people pay karma for their actions? And, would they? Because what they did was just so horrific. So here is the honest answer. Everything, as we know, is basically planned, pre-planned before we get here. And I've told you several times in several of my videos that, we're allowed to operate within certain parameters of being here. But for the most part, a lot of what we're going through is planned, especially very major incidences. So 9/11 was definitely a planned incident. It was not a random act of violence in any way. It was not just boom, an accident or nothing like that. So the perpetrators of 9/11 agreed on some level to um, cause 9/11. Now, we don't know what reasons they had for agreeing to cause it. We don't even know, um, were they themselves paying that karma um, by doing that. You know, it's very hard to know. It's very hard to know. But every action that we agree to take, okay, with the true intent of hurting someone, that is that we've chosen within that certain parameter, okay, there are ramifications for that. So, for instance, here's an example. Say, for instance, there is someone that's chosen to be in my life, okay, And we have been together for several lives. And in those several lives, maybe I was the recipient of their abuse. Okay. So in this life, I've chosen, you know what? I'm going to really work on trying to change the tide of that, not allow that abuse. And that person also agrees that, you know what? I am going to, um, I want to vacate being abusive. I don't want the abuse anymore. I need to know how it feels on the other end of that abuse. And so in this life, I'm not necessarily abusive towards them. However, in my actions, I help them balance out their karma. I help them to realize the effect of their abusive actions against me for however many lifetimes I suffered it. Okay. And so through my actions, I do this. Okay. Um, and that person eventually finally gets it. They're able to balance out their karma. They're able to understand the effects. And it makes them want to not act in that way anymore. Okay. So have I created karma for myself? Not necessarily, because we agreed that I would help them balance theirs out. Now, that's a very generalized example, but it's kind of how things work. Believe me, on the other side, things are not looked at as good and bad, but more so in balance, harmony, in love, and whatever is needed to get to that balance, that harmony, and that love. And so, whatever actions we need to take in this um, existence, in this heavier um, dimension, to help us realize and balance out some of our actions and some of our imbalances, whatever. That is the purpose of so much of what we go through, put it that way. um and I'm struggling here a little bit to try to I have it in my mind, but it's not coming out as great as I would like it. But I hope you're kind of getting the gist of what I'm saying. So, the perpetrators of 9/11 may or may not have incurred karma for their actions. It depends on the agreements involved, what was decided upon before coming here. Um, you know what? In this life, I'm going to play the bad guy type thing, um, so that you can balance out and work on what you need to, type of thing. That is literally how it goes. We play so many different roles in our day-to-day lives, in our existence. We play many different roles. It's like sometimes you got to be the bad guy with your kids. You got to be there's the good parent and there's the bad parent. There's love from both of them, right? Both of them love the kids just as much as the other. But sometimes the bad parents got to be the bad parent. Sometimes, you know, you got your good cop, you got your bad cop. Um, if you didn't have your bad cop, sometimes perpetrators wouldn't get their just deserves, you know. So I mean, it's so complicated um, to us, but not when looked at from the other side. The endless, um, complicated streams that go out from our lives and how they interact with others is intricate, and it somewhat amazes me, especially when I saw it just in action. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. So yes, what the 9/11 perpetrators did was horrific. It was horrific when viewed through our eyes. But to those that needed to go through 9/11 to unfortunately lose their lives during 9/11, they don't see it that way. Did not see it that way. Because remember, there are no accidents. None. And I know that saying that sounds cold, and saying that can sound heartless, but it's not coming from a place of that. Believe me, it's not. And you are here listening to this because you do have a sense of there's more to things than just what we see. So, to those asking about that, thanks for, bringing up such a challenging and kind of controversial question. But the more we try to step back and look at things from the overall perspective through that spiritual lens, the more understanding we gain. And that kind of brings me into this very next item. I had someone, and I'm not going to even read it. I had someone that um, wrote to me in a very distressed state of mind, and they were seriously contemplating ending their life. Um, and I won't even tell you exactly what I told them, but I will say this: this life for many is very painful, very hard, very harsh, and at times it can seem hopeless. But we are here. We chose to come here, not to leave or to vacate this life, but to actually embrace the challenges, to embrace the aspects of this life the best way we can. Because in doing that, um, we have set up certain things in our life to experience, and we set them up for a reason. And it kind of strengthens and enriches our spiritual muscles. Okay. And when we shrink from those experiences, when we shrink from what we have kind of laid out for ourselves, um, instead of embracing them, we we kind of make things even harder for ourselves. We make things harder. We make things more upsetting for ourselves. We make things more depressing for ourselves. And look, I will be the first to tell you I have my moments of extreme sadness, of moments of depression. Um, and I just want to kind of give up. But with my understanding of the fact that not only did I choose my life and choose how it is, but I also have the choice on how I live it, and embracing it with an attitude of love does make things better, does make it smoother. We can be in those places of sadness, depression, etc., but we should never dwell in those places, because dwelling in them, once you start dwelling, you just keep going down and down and down and down, mentally, emotionally. And it's hard to bring yourself back up. So I truly try not to dwell in those places long. And I also remember something that my guide said to me. One of the few bits of advice my guide gave me was to not only embrace this life, but the the reward of even going through the toughest things, the hardships, the tragedies, the whatever, and coming away with some type of positive attitude is so rewarding, that we just can't imagine. And it not only um, helps us here, but it kind of sets us up for even better conditions down the line. So, embracing our life with that love um, has that twofold effect of definitely moving us in a place where we not only want to be, but we should be. And, doing that, a lot of things that we could have experienced down the line, we don't. We don't need to. Because the bottom line, the end result, um, to everything eventually is love. The harmony, the perfection of love. And it's a very real and it's a very tangible thing. So, anyway, this person that did contact me, they fortunately were able to move to a much better mental place. And I'm not going to even take credit for it. And here's why, because even though what I said, I'm sure helped, but it was truly their switch up, their embracing of the best way they could of the concept that love was there somewhere. They were able to do that themselves and it helped them and got them to a better place. So I am thankful for that. Um, and I know that they are. I'll just say that. I know that they are. So I feel like that's a lot of heaviness and for this week's session, and I'm really sorry about that. Um, but I appreciate everyone. I thank you. Um, and I want everyone just to kind of, be on the lookout for those eclipses this month, and just kind of know that whatever you feel, whatever you experience, it is there for you for some reason, and we know that the end reason is what? Love. Just remember that love is just as tangible as this rock right here. It just comes in different forms. That's all. It just comes in different forms, but it's just as solid as this pyrite. All right. So take care of everyone. And one more reminder for those that have read the book, if you could please leave either stars or an actual write a review on Amazon, it's much appreciated. And I believe that is it. Take care. Love to you all in your own way, in the way that you can receive it and see it. It's always there, whether we see it or not. Okay.